I wouldn't want to miss this one.
Enlightening.
Spectacular.
Mind expanding.
Synergy.
Solutions for today's problems. Good things.
Well, this meeting is about architects of the new paradigm. And that's exciting because I think we all know the old paradigm is not quite working for us. You know, there's a lot of war in the world, there's a lot of poverty, and we know there doesn't need to be that. In some ways, this conference is about two seemingly separate things that are actually very similar. And those two separate things, to me, are understanding where we went wrong and trying to elevate our consciousness by getting rid of the ignorance that we've created. And then, of course, figuring out how to, in a peaceful way, construct a change that will allow universal peace and plenty to be available.
I love this conference. It was an activator for me in some of the truths that I feel very deeply inside, and kind of cleared away some of the excess so that I feel that we are profound manifestors and we are architects.
I was moved, I was inspired, I was overwhelmed.
I wish I could go to school every day and get this, because this is not what I got in school.
I think I'm mostly inspired by knowing how many people there are that know we have to have a whole new paradigm.
I find it exciting to find a room filled with so many people that that are open to this and are seeking more. And it feels like a sense of community forming.
You said the problem isn't that there is no future, the problem is that there is a future, and it's up to all of us to make that into the dreams that we want to create.
I wouldn't want to miss this one because it's got a format and an intention that gives it a whole nother level from most conferences that I've been to. And it's there in the title. Architects of the New Paradigm doesn't refer to a few people, giving speeches and selling books. It refers to every single person that is coming, recognizing that they are a vital part of architecting a new paradigm that can actually create a sustainable and thriving civilization. The intelligence in the room, the love in the room, the respect that people have had for each other here as they're exploring these topics, to me, models exactly what's needed in the world right now. And frankly, I'm not seeing a lot of it, particularly with the kind of political polarities that we've been kind of divided into in the U.S. with the intent of suppressing and conquering our free will and creativity is very risky and very dangerous. And so to whatever degree at a conference like this we can model respectful collaboration, seeking truth when we don't necessarily agree, for me it's a real blessing and a privilege to be a part of it, and that's why I'm here.
This is a conference of inspiration and optimism for me. I'm feeling deeply inspired, and I see the solutions. I'm hearing the solutions. And there are things that I deeply believe in as a practitioner of yoga. It's all right in alignment with what the ancient wisdom teachings are.
It's good to be with like-minded people.
We are at the end of an era called you or me, an era that's based on competition and that we're all separate.
I came to this conference because I have a lot of these thoughts myself, and I am looking for a community of people to share them, expand on them, get a feel for them.
It's very inspiring to get a more global, a larger picture of our existence, because especially at this time, we can kind of fall into depression and feeling like we're powerless, instead of just going, I'm huge.
When we come together, we create a field that is stronger. There's a synergetic effect that is stronger than the addition of all the parts. And that's critical. And we can see it on the data of the random generator when we have world meditations, for instance, and all of a sudden random generator shows non-random spikes in the data. When we come together, we can create coherency, and it's affecting the field everywhere, and it makes a difference in helping people get to that same state of coherency. So it's critical that we meet like this.
Oh my gosh, it exceeded my expectations. I was originally fearful it could be a little dry, a little boring, a little academic. It was so humanized that I felt included immediately. I felt personally inspired. I felt enervated as far as there's a current of joy that goes through these people, perhaps because they are dealing with truth. And I think that brings out the joy in all of this.
But I just feel like a lot of the message here kind of transcends political parties. It kind of feels like we don't have to be listening to the news all day to day and hearing about all these negative things. I think a lot of what I was hearing, for every 10 or 20 minutes someone spoke so far, I was like, you know what, I never really thought about that before. And there's been a lot of those moments of, I wonder what I can learn from that and take from that and kind of bring it out in the real world.
The things about this conference I think are most relevant are the aspects of promoting higher consciousness, because the planet can't take business as usual.
Yeah, this is a conference which joins together two of my primary interests, which are political change and new technologies, and the evolution of the human race into joining with the other life that's out there. So it kind of combines those two. And the core of that is the non-aggression principle, which Danny Sheehan, Foster Campbell, Mary Ruwart have been talking about this morning. Having relationships among beings, human beings here, that aren't based on the initiation of force or violence, which is what we have in our political structures today. And to evolve into that and become a place that's safe for whatever life that's out there to come visit is part of the future of humanity that I'm working toward and throwing my life toward. And gather with other people with that kind of common vision of radically voluntary, peaceful relationship is the beginning of a whole new world. And that's what this conference is about.
Okay, for me, the most important issues are the amount of truth that's coming out in various ways from various speakers, but they have a tremendous amount of knowledge, information, experience, wisdom. They're wrestling with really difficult issues, and they're doing it in very intelligent and sometimes very elegant and heartfelt ways. So connecting with those people who are really addressing what's really happening is so important. It's so valuable, right? You don't hear it much. It's not out there in the general world, so to speak.
I had a hard enough time coming across an individual once in a while that would even be receptive to one of these ideas. So there's something going on here. It's a unifying field theory. It's a meta theory. These people are principled and they're bringing together. So they're on to something. They're on to the new paradigm.
And it's about connecting, heart connection with people. And I know that sounds like some new agey cliche stuff, but fundamentally what I feel is true in my life experience is that who we genuinely are is love. And I think one of the big wounds of our world now is that we forgot who we are. And it's this kind of a venue, this kind of an event that starts to waken that up even more. If you have any kind of feelings of frustration about what's going on in the world and you want a sense of empowerment, come to this conference.
Some of the things that I'm seeing are, first of all, people have really woken up to the conspiracy. There's such an approaching critical mass of human beings now who don't expect that they're going to be getting the full story, the important information from mainstream news, but they can go to alternative sources, talk with their friends, fact check, and actually have some confidence that they've got some information that they can take effective action on. So that's one thing that people are waking up to. People are waking up to the fact that we're not alone in the universe, and that not only is there a possibility that we're being visited by, interdimensional beings, extraterrestrial creatures and so forth, but the evidence is pretty clear we have been for at least centuries, if not millennia.
And Richard Bach wrote a book called Illusions, and the Messiah's Handbook, which is a book within that book, said sometimes the members of your true family are bound not by blood, but by common belief. And so it feels like a family reunion.
We are the ripple makers, and what we do, how we think, moves out into the world and has an effect. And never to underestimate or make that small. We are the architects.
And I think we all feel a desire to live in a better world. I appreciate the invitation to come that recognizes that each of us is an architect of a new world.
That I borned myself here, as did you, and as did you, to participate in this, the most exciting, the most dangerous time ever in the history of the world, because we wanted to view it and participate in it. This is one wild roller coaster ride, and I think it's just begun.